All right, good evening, ladies. I hope everyone, gotta fix my chair here real quick. I hope everyone had a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Hope you're able to spend some time outdoors. It was beautiful. Well, some of it was. There was a little rain here and there. Hope everybody is doing well on this Wellness Wednesday. And I do want to get into just saying my disclaimer as I get started into things. I also have an announcement for those of you who might be new. So we'll get to that in a moment. So anything that I say tonight is just health information, and it's not specific health, should not be taken as specific health advice. Do not start taking or stop taking or change the way you're taking any of your medications. And if you feel like you really should do that, please consult your prescribing practitioner to make those changes. And, attending this Wellness Wednesday does not establish a doctor-patient relationship. But we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about something that is an extremely important key in, in reclaiming oftentimes the thyroid health that you're looking for. All right. So my announcement is, for those of you who might be new, is I am giving a Fix Your Thyroid Masterclass, 5-day free masterclass starting October 2nd. It'll go through, so October 2nd through October 6th. It'll be every evening, every single evening at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. And we're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn the actual reason why your moods swing, especially between depression and anxiety. You're going to know why you still have low thyroid symptoms, even when your labs are normal. You're going to find, you're going to learn the number one reason why you're still stuck despite trying everything, and why thyroid diets are a waste of time and what to do instead. Another thing, we will share with you why you should absolutely not believe that your troubles are all in your head, that it's just because you're getting older, and that you really shouldn't be accepting your new normals. Let's help you get your life back. Now, I know those who may have attended my masterclass in the past know that this is extremely valuable information and truly life-changing. So I look forward to joining you then, October 2nd. Now, the key, one of the real keys to unlocking your health really lies in a really important cause, and that is mold toxicity. So let's talk about some of the symptoms you might be noticing. Brain fog is big, short-term memory issues, lack of concentration, mental fatigue. Like you used to be able to get through your work day and be able to get home and still have some mental mental ability left. Sometimes now you feel with this, you feel like you're done. Like you can barely even get through your work day, or maybe some of you have had to cut your work day short because it's just so mentally taxing. Certainly, fatigue will be a symptom of mold toxicity. Just hormone changes, mood swings, because it can affect your thyroid. It can affect the pituitary gland and cause low thyroid. If you think about like adrenal, we've talked a lot about adrenal health in a couple Wellness Wednesdays back. Don't remember exactly, but one of them. Adrenal fatigue can certainly be impacted by mold toxicity or caused by mold toxicity. And outright dementia and Alzheimer's, these are conditions that can have a basis in mold toxicity. So for those of you who think that you might be dealing with this, I mean, certainly let me back up. You can't forget about weight gain and digestive issues, irritable bowel syndrome. So it's just so many different types of symptoms you can have because of mold toxicity. All right. If you think back to, how long you've been struggling with these things, some of you might kind of remember these symptoms coming on for a long time, like they started years ago. And like maybe you've always been this way. I've heard, Dr. Redd, I've always had trouble concentrating. And so why, this is just who I am. Well, there's always a reason why, even if it's gone on your whole life, why you've had trouble concentrating. I mean, that's a really big deal. When it happens new, but when you're used to it, it's no big deal. It's important that we really get to the root cause of this. So we've got to do the right testing. So many women that tell me that they're tired and that they're not sleeping well, or they're having brain fog or mood swings, or even just like energy crashes in the middle of their day. Could it be thyroid? Well, absolutely it could, but what's underlying that? What is the cause causing the thyroid not to work as well? We've talked a lot about Hashimoto's in the past, and that is a cause. Well, certainly mold toxicity can cause autoimmunity and Hashimoto's. I better also mention, if those of you who may have heard that you have chronic kidney disease, and even cancers, mold toxicity can cause a lot of medical issues, conditions that, doctors aren't going to look for it. They're never going to look for it. Some of the testing that we really need to do in functional medicine to find out if you are toxic, mold toxic, first of all, starts with HLA-DQ testing. This is a genetic test. It's a blood test, and it tells us whether or not you are susceptible to mold, whether you are multi-susceptible regarding many other biotoxins. But as we are kind of focusing on mold tonight, this is really one of the most important tests you can get. And beyond that, there are tests like MMP9, matrix metalloprotease 9, if I could get the words out, TGF beta 1, trans epithelial factor, growth factor beta 1. I don't test that as often because it sort of muddies the water a little bit, but it certainly can tell us if there is mold toxicity or toxicity from, on some degree, from other toxins. So it's not necessarily just mold, because there are many other biotoxins that can cause that. But that is something that we have found. So there are tests for also establishing what kinds of mold toxins, specific mold toxins, and there are specific urine tests that measure or that actually identify the different toxins that molds produce. These are called mycotoxins. And just to get a little bit technical and to give you a little bit more information about some of these, what this test can find, you may have heard of, well, even if you haven't, I'm just going to talk about a few of them. There are certain mold species that you may have heard of. One of them is Aspergillus. And there is a condition called aspergillosis. There's one called Stachybotrys. There's Penicillium, right? And there's a few more. Let me talk about the Aspergillus toxins that we often find in these tests. So if you run across anything in your research, you'll say, Dr. Redd told me about that. One of them is aflatoxin. Aflatoxin, and there's kind of a group of these as well, aflatoxins, are principally known to be cancer-causing toxins. Doesn't really, I mean, this can be any kind of cancer. And then there is ochratoxin A. These are also known to be carcinogenic or cancer-causing, but these are principally the toxins that cause, well, there's another one, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. Kidney damage, so kidney disease. These are nephrotoxic toxins, so often a cause of chronic kidney disease. Most people think, well, I have chronic kidney disease because of diabetes. Well, guess what? A lot of times we test for these things in diabetics as well, and this is what we find. We find these mold toxins, and we're like, well, no wonder this is happening. Because not all diabetics get chronic kidney disease. I mean, it's certainly certainly common, but could it be because they are dealing with mold toxins, which are everywhere? Okay. There could be, these toxins can be immunotoxic. So ochratoxin A, toxic to the immune system. And no wonder you might have problems with not getting sick or getting really sick when you do. Okay, like pneumonia or bone infections, or you go right to the bacterial bronchitis instead of skipping the virus kind of thing. Because most people believe that a poorly functioning immune system means that you would get sick all the time. I really need to say something about this. So this is a little bit of a sidebar, but the paradox is this: your immune system works when you get sick, when you get common colds, when you get just a stuffy or runny nose, when you get a fever, when you get achy and sneezy and coughing and headachy, and these are symptoms of your immune system at work. It's reacting to the virus or the infective agent, and this is the sign that that your immune system is working. When you don't get sick, it can be because your immune system is suppressed, it's not working properly, and you're not well. It does not mean you are healthy if you do not get sick. So there's something to chew on. I will come back to the topic now of mold. Okay, so this testing, like I said, this urine testing for mold toxins can tell us what types of mold you're dealing with. Another type of mold or toxin produced by Aspergillus is gliotoxin. Glio meaning brain cell, or I should say the immune system of the brain, the glial cells or support system of the brain. Glial cells support neurons. And when you have these toxins toward the glial cells, you're going to have brain fog. You might have parts of your brain that do not function very well, like that don't help you get to sleep at night, that don't help you make enough TSH to stimulate your thyroid, or ACTH to stimulate cortisol production in your adrenal glands. So you might be low adrenal function just because you have mold toxicity in your brain. So glial toxins can really, they can cause cancer as well. They can suppress the immune system, like I said, especially the brain's immune system. So these are just some specific types of toxins that you may find in your research as you look through this. So mycophenolic acid is another type of mold toxin, mycotoxin, that is very immunotoxic. So it really suppresses your immune system. This is the same toxin that they make drugs to help those with transplants, organ transplants, not to reject the transplant. So these are designed to suppress the immune system because that's what they do. That's what these toxins are supposed to do. And so that's kind of an interesting little tidbit. But because mold is literally everywhere, if you are mold susceptible genetically, or multi-susceptible genetically, or if you are low MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone deficient in your bloodstream, then you will essentially act like you're multi-susceptible and be susceptible to mold. So what this means, you guys, is that when you're exposed to mold, these genes turn on, and then you become, your immune system doesn't even respond to these toxins. It can't respond, let alone clear them out. So it doesn't identify the toxins, and it doesn't clear them out of your body. All right. This, of course, leads to chronic inflammation and disease and cancers. So this is why it's so important to get the right testing, you guys, because otherwise you have no idea what's causing your symptoms. And you can beat your head against the wall trying to take the right supplements and make the right food choices, and it doesn't work because there's a deeper underlying issue. You want to make sure also that you're not living in it. So you got to test your house sometimes, or maybe your work environment. A really economical and powerful test is called an ERMI, an environmental relative moldiness index test. This type of test is capable of identifying toxins, mold toxins that are in your house by you collecting some dust samples with a Swiffer cloth, and then testing this dust, for the spores, and then they'll be able to find out exactly what these mold toxins are, what these mold species are, these spore forming units are. And so this gives you a score. It's called an index, a relative index, which is a comparison between what would normally be due to water damage molds, or what are water damage molds versus what are common indoor molds. And this test compares the two, gives you a number or a comparison, the difference And then that is then scored based on what kinds of molds you're growing in your house. And that gives us an idea of how serious it is and whether or not your house will need treatment. Because if you're mold susceptible and you've got these chronic symptoms, which you attribute to low thyroid or whatever it is, this will help answer what's going on. If you're mold susceptible and you're living in an environment that consistently exposes you to mold, then this will just make you sicker and sicker. Just learned about from a friend on Facebook who moved into a new house with her family. She has a lot of kids. I can't remember exactly how many kids she has. Everybody came down with pneumonia, and she did a little searching, looking around. Became very apparent that the house is full of black mold. This stuff is dangerous. It will make you sick. Now, if you're susceptible, it wouldn't necessarily make you that sick. It would certainly cause inflammation under the surface that makes you tired, that causes your thyroid not to work, that causes your brain not to work fully. So you deal with the brain fog and poor concentration. And man, I just feel so bad for her, and wish there was some way we could help her out. There is treatment for this condition, and the basic treatment really involves being able to detox your body from these toxins, especially when you're not able to clear them out on your own because your immune system can't do it. So we have to facilitate the elimination of these toxins, and we have the agents that are able to help you with this. So that's the good news. We can certainly treat this. You got to get the right testing to see if this is even a problem or cause of your symptoms. But man, it's so nice to find out answers and find out what is actually causing these symptoms. And so when you finally get these answers and establish that, yeah, maybe you're mold susceptible genetically, and at least you can know that there is a successful treatment for this. Okay. Christine, I want to tell you about one of my patients, Christine, who, and this just speaks to kind of the, maybe some skepticism that you might have, thinking that, oh, my house can't have mold. It's brand new. I mean, it just can't. Well, Christine and her family moved into their new house here in the area. Came up. They moved in from. I think they came up from either California or Nevada. I can't remember now. Moved into a brand new house. All right. Now she had already been diagnosed with MS, and she was doing relatively okay. And they moved into the house. Well, 2 years later, she finds herself in a wheelchair. She's much weaker. She really just can't stand on her own 2 feet for very long. And when she's not, in a wheelchair, she's in bed. 3 years go by, and she contacts me and starts to work on this. And unfortunately for her, she wasn't able to continue care because of some other extenuating circumstances. But it ends up that we tested her house for mold, and it was full of it. 2 years after moving into the house, she finds herself in a wheelchair with worsened, absolutely worsened condition with her MS, multiple sclerosis, and finding herself so much weaker. And she would also say, she also said a lot more brain fog and just scattered. She just was scattered and could hardly, keep her thoughts. She didn't work so that was, I guess, okay, but no, it was bothering her a lot. And she had a couple kids, and that's, as a mother, she felt really at a disadvantage because her brain just wasn't working that well. Turns out that the house had been built during the winter. They build houses year-round here in the Boise Valley. And it's interesting that they do that. Just know that you have to be really careful when if you go to buy a new house, you got to know when it's built, because if it was built in the dead of winter, you've got snow piling on, you've got some rain, you've got a lot of water collecting on the flooring before it's enclosed, and then on the roof, after it's covered, after it's constructed, before you put the shingles on and everything. That wood will absorb that water, and then with the heat that comes later on, that provides a perfect environment for mold to grow. And we think, yeah, the South, down south of the United States, that's where it's really moldy. It's, it gets really wet and it's really humid, and then it gets really hot. I don't care where you live. I had a patient in Oklahoma, very, very dry for the most part, except when there's the occasional tornado and rainstorm, but very dry for the most part. And her house was full of mold, and she was dealing with early Alzheimer's at a very young age, early 40s. And she got treatment, and she would tell you that her symptoms improved dramatically once they were able to truly get the mold treated in the house, and after her treatment program that she went through. I want to tell you about Kathy, another patient who and she worked from home, dealing with a lot of brain fog and fatigue. It was really interesting when she got her home treated and so forth. The next visit, she said, Dr. Redd, it was like a light switch. It literally only took a couple of days after being in that house, after it was treated, that my brain started clearing up, she told me. And so that was awesome. It had such an immediate effect for her. And all I can make of it is that she got the house treated, and she'd been going through her own process to treat her mold and her body's mold toxicity. And she started doing so much better. It was really, really awesome. And then finally, I'll tell you about another patient, Lisa, who also had a lot of problems with brain fog and being overweight, and she really found the key to her weight loss, or slimming down, let's call it, and really resolving her brain fog was due to going through the process to treat her mold toxicity. And she lost close to 50 pounds. And certainly feels so much better brain-wise. Her brain fog has cleared up, and she's had coworkers, notice, telling her that, she just seems so different and so much more, so much more alert and with it. it's pretty cool when other people notice these things. And it just goes to show you, like I said, that if we truly find the root causes, we can see the results that you really want to see. Mold is a big deal. Mold toxicity, a type of biotoxicity, right? So got to get the right testing for yourself, for your house. Got to go through the right treatment process, and treat this root cause, and your body will be able to heal. Your body has the power to heal still. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been it's been a short half hour. Oh, there is one question. What is the difference between mycotoxins and biotoxins? And the simple answer to that is mycotoxins are a type of biotoxins. The general definition of biotoxins is they're toxins created by living organisms. So mold is a living organism. It forms spores, and these spores create mycotoxins, mycotoxins. And those are the toxins that cause the inflammation and the damage, the cellular and tissue damage that you can have with with these toxins, with this toxicity. Very good. I think I will leave it there. If you have any other questions, post them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them afterwards in the chat. But hope every one of you ladies has a wonderful rest of your evening. And please remember, masterclass, Fix Your Thyroid Masterclass, beginning October 2nd, going through the 6th, every evening, starting at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's free. So register. We will post the link to register in the comment section for this Wellness Wednesday as well. So, all right, everybody, I'm looking forward to seeing you then and interacting with you all. And you guys have a good evening. Take care.